Welcome to the CQ Phones portion of this certification for CQ Simple. In this, we will be focusing on usage, web GUI, and also taking a look at the wiki to see kind of what information can you glean from that to help you with phones. So it should be a pretty quick one. And this is on the new 50 series phones. So it's been updated to kind of switch from the older series we had to the newer series. This one, there's a lot of benefits, Bluetooth on the 650, Wi-Fi on the 450 and 650, wall mountable, so just a lot of really nice things there. So let's take a look first of all kind of at what we're going to be talking about today. First thing, module overview. We're going to take a look at the web interface. What does that look like? What are all the things you can change at the web interface level? What is now available on the wiki, and how can you use that to make your life a little bit easier? So let's first start with the web GUI. So how do you get there? It's actually really similar to our older series phones. Simply press the check mark. It's right in the middle of the up, down, left, right keys on the right side of the phone. If you press that, it's going to tell you your IP. It's also going to tell you your firmware. And then at that point, once you have your IP, just type that into a web browser, and your login credentials are pretty standard, admin and admin. That's going to get you to the web interface. From there, you can register this phone manually. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's hop into Chrome. So if I press the check mark on mine, you actually press it twice. The first one takes you to information. You press it again. So this is 192.168.1.149. So 192.168.1.149. And admin. All right, so right away, you're going to be able to see some of your firmware version. The ones that really matter the most in terms of what you will be changing is not the boot, but it's the image and the ROM. Those will actually mirror each other. You're also going to see if your expansion module has the firmware necessary. If you keep scrolling down, you can see you've got quite a few. You can have quite a few accounts on this. In this case, we just have one on here, and it is registered. Then if you keep scrolling down, you're going to see the MAC address. You're going to utilize that provisioning. We'll talk about that later. And also the IP if you need it, and kind of what you're using for your gateway. So that's right away, coming out of the gate here. If you need to really quick register this phone manually, you do it in two places. Previous phones was a single place. If you click on the profile, put your SIP server here. So that's the IP of your phone system. Could be local, could be in the cloud, depending on what kind of a system you're trying to register a phone to. Then hit save. You don't have to restart it. And you can play around with, there's some advanced settings here. For the most part, they almost never get changed here. One thing I will mention, if you're doing a manual phone, this allow auto answer by call info. If you change that to yes, that allows paging to work on the phone, and that gets changed for you if you're using the provisioning tool. If you're not, then you should come in here and manually change that. So profile is just your SIP server. If you click on account, this is where you're going to put in your extension number and your password. So you've got label, SIP user ID, authenticate ID. Especially the SIP user ID and authenticate ID should be the extension number. What you choose to put in the other is up to you. Authenticate password, this is the secret from the phone. So if you're looking back here under extensions and you want to register extension 100, it's going to be this right here, that secret. By now you've probably used that many times. Copy and paste that there. If you're doing this manually, you probably also need to put in *97 for your voicemail user ID, or else it won't pick that up. Then hit save, and you don't need to hit restart. Some other functions to take care of under network. If you need to change it to static, you can do that here. If you're turning on Wi-Fi, you can do that here. PC port, the expansion module actually connects to the PC port. So you'd want to just change that to connect to expansion module there. If you click on function keys, you've got your line keys here. Line keys, you now have 36 different keys. Your screen scrolls. So you can manually change these to be, lines, call park, BLFs. You have a huge variety of what you can change these to be here. And then for your expansion keys, if you've got a manual here, you can put that on as well. Under settings, I'm not going to walk through all of these, but this is all just manual. You're probably going to want to change your date and time. You do have some flexibility with what you want your BLFs to do. based on incoming calls, dialing, talking, parking. You've got a fair number of options here. If you hit custom, now you can, right, how much does it flash? Is it flashing red? Is it flashing green? Is it off? Is it solid red? Previous models did not have that variety of what you could do with those keys. It was pretty well locked in. Under management, this is where you can change your password. This is also where you can upgrade it. If you want to reset the phone or if you want to change your firmware, and I'll show you where to get that firmware, but here's where you would attach that firmware. You'd simply choose file and then, search your, downloads or desktop to grab it and hit upgrade. Auto provision, and we're going to get into this, into the provisioning. This is where the phone goes and finds its files. So it's this one right here, config server path. That is where the phone is looking for its files. What buttons should I be? What extension should I be? We'll go into that a little bit later. So that's kind of the web interface of the phone. Pretty standard, nothing, nothing crazy here, but I thought it'd be important to kind of show it to you. So let's hop back in where we were and finish off certification here. So we talked about the web GUI. We're good. We're good. All right, let's take a look at WIKI Contents. All right, what are you going to find here? And this is all updated now for the 50 series phones. You're going to find the firmware, or you could download it. You're going to find the guides for the Bluetooth and the EHSs. The EHS is just for a wireless headset, right? That's for the 450 and the 650. The Bluetooth is just the 650. You're going to find some sales slicks. So let's hop in that. So if we take a look at CQ Partners, so we're in our dealer portal here. I'm already logged in. If you click on WIKI, and I'm just going to click on my CQ phones. It's going to drag me down for me, right? And here I am. So you've got the 50 series phones, and then you've got the older model phones down below. So right away you can see the firmware. And inside this firmware, this is the 2.0.4.6.20. This is the newest variety, and you'll see this kind of expanded out here. In this Google Drive, you're going to find 3 different firmware files. Some of them, one for the 250, one of them is for the 450 and the 650, and one of them is just for the expansion module. So you simply click on this, it'll open up a Google Drive, it'll take you to so here it is, so the 520. So if you just click on that, right click, and hit download, you can grab that firmware, whether it's for the 450 and 650, that's for the 250, the classroom phone, and for the sidecar. Right, so let's go back to where we were. This is the provisioning guide. This is basically going to be what the next portion of this certification is going to be, is how do you take and make templates and provision mass number of phones? What configurations can you do? How can you send a screensaver, like a background image to all of your phones? You can very easily take a look at your sales slick. So if you want to share this with a customer, you can take a look at this here. I may have been mistaken earlier. The Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is just the 650. The 450 is not Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. And then you've got a setup guide for EH&S. So if you happen to choose to purchase that, if your person's looking for a wireless headset, how do you set it up? They set up really easily and they work right away. We've been really happy with that. And then approved Bluetooth and wireless headsets. All right, so which ones, right now, at the mid-December, have been tested and approved and work with the CQ phones. So be sure you kind of take a look at that before you start buying Bluetooth. There's a variety of Bluetooth versions out there. Just because it says Bluetooth doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work on the phone right now. Certainly we're adding things to it as we go. So that takes care of the information on the wiki. We talked about the web interface. In the next portion of this training, we'll take a look at how to mass provision CQ phones, both locally and in the cloud. Thanks.